Are you ready for my November update from my jungle? Stick around with me and let's dive into it. Hi, my name is Memo, this is my channel, Houseplantygoodness, and essentially it's a place where I like to geek out about my big passion. You might be able to see some of it behind me, it's tropical houseplants. I'll start off by saying you're probably hearing a very nasal Memo today. I do apologise, I am really not well. I've got some form of illness, either flu or a cold, but I feel like death warmed over, and I need to film a couple of these videos because I don't know, you know when you kind of hedge your bets and you're just like, oh, do this now because I'm feeling okay, because later on today or even on the weekend I might feel like death. So, and I wanted to do a November update. So, there's a lot of things that have happened. Some new plants, one new plant I think, and a few updates on some new-ish plants as well that I wanted to kind of share with you. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into it. Okay, starting off strong with a Calathea. I know! So, this is whilst everything is dripping down because I've watered everything. The Calathea White Fusion-y kind of situation. It has recently been repotted into larger media, and hopefully, I'll see if that can come up. You might be able to see some small roots there and there. This, broken record. Soil ninjas, Anthurium soil mix for a Calathea, especially in the winter. What you might be able to see with some of the yellowing is I had a very, very, very bright grow light next to it, so I think some of it was kind of getting bleached out. Also, a lot of the yellowing tends to be on the older leaves, so it doesn't worry me too much. But so far, this is doing okay because this is one that kind of struggles a bit in the winter months for me. So I thought, you know what, let's try it. Let's give it some stronger light, let's give it a bit of an area mix and pull back a bit on the watering, and it seems to be doing the trick. So yes, forget everything everybody ever tells you about Calathea's really, really, really chunky soil mix and pull back on the watering. Probably don't leave it to go bone dry for many days on end, but actually it's all right. This is not one that you want to be treating like a fern. Little update as well from one of the plants from the plant swap. So this is the baby Melano, and it's got a new leaf coming through, which I'm very, very happy about. So this one you might be noticing that I haven't got it yet on a moss pole. It has got some aerial roots. I'm kind of letting it do its thing for right now, but probably in the next few days I'll give this a bit of a moss pole just so it can start attaching kind of ASAP to see if I can start getting the leaves to size up. I'm still not sure whether or not this is a Melano because I can't remember now if my Melano, when it's young, has a slight blush at the back of the leaves. Let me know down below because I think, I can't remember now if this was next to a Splendid. I'm pretty sure this is a Melano, but I don't know. My Splendid usually tends to have a bit of a darker red at the back, so I don't know. And whilst doing a quick fire of everything that's happened from the plant swap, this, and I still don't know what Episcia it is, because apparently it seems that nobody else does actually either, so I don't know. But this one is doing really, really, really well. And it's kind of starting to perk up a bit now. I'm starting to see some of that silveriness. I have no idea how to care for this, because I have never had an Episcia. I'm trying to treat it a bit like an African violet, although I didn't have great success with an African violet in the sense that I shouldn't really be wetting the leaves. Although in all fairness, I'm pretty sure the leaves have got wet on this a couple of times and it's not really caused me too much of an issue. If you know anything about keeping Episcias happy, let me know down below. I would appreciate any kind of advice that you might have. But so far, so good. And I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the kind of weirdness of the leaves, and it's the fact that it's also got hairy leaves. People that have been here for a while, they know that I like my hairy plants, and is it petable? Not particularly. I'm not thinking like Seismoria or even, the Calathea, I can't remember what it's called now. I'll put it at the top there. My fluey brain is never a good brain. I mean, at the best of times, I'm a bit chaotic, but right now. But yes, that specific Calathea has got really fuzzy backs of the leaves, and it's a bit like a pet. Oh. Also, Pellionia repens variegated is doing really, really, really well. You can see like it's actually growing quite a bit taller, and I'm actually not giving this an awful lot of light. I didn't know how much light to give this, because generally with variegated plants, I want to give them a decent level of bright indirect light. But with this one, I'm just like, I don't really have a lot of place for you that I can put you with bright indirect light that isn't bright light, because obviously I need to hang it up. But I mean, I don't have to, because if you look at the way that it's growing upwards, it's not trailing down. So we shall see. This might end up going into a pot within itself and then going from there. But actually, so far, so good. And before anybody says it, you know, I'm checking for pests. I don't think that was. I think that was just a bit of dust. This is a plant that I would imagine does well in here because my humidity level. And I don't know if I can... Is there anyone that I can kind of pick up and show you? Yes, let me show you what my current humidity is. That is 81% humidity, and it's after running my dehumidifier for the last 3 hours on full tilt. So overnight, this space gets really, really high humidity. I do need to reduce that a bit because otherwise I'm going to be cleaning the windows more than I care to like do. But yes, really, really good high humidity. And this is the point I'm trying to make with this is, yes, it probably does well in here because it's more or less in a terrarium environment. I don't know what it would do like in household environment. The other thing, and I'm not going to lift the plant up to show you, but my Anthurium queremalense has got a new growth point, even in the winter. And I actually find, I think this is a plant that tends to do better for me in the winter, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I did get the biggest leaf in the summer, but this does really, really, really well. And actually, I might need to give that a bit of a water because this is a thirsty plant at the best of times. When it's pushing out a leaf, like that multiplies several times over. So very, very cool plant. Still enjoying this, surprisingly enjoying this. I do need to double check that new leaf if it's got any pests in the lines of mealybugs and stuff like that, because that's where you end up with holes on them. But to give you an idea, this is one that is velvety to the touch, and I have been using the Castile soap spray on this absolutely no problem. Some of the issues that you might be seeing on here on the cosmeticness of the plant, those are bits that were drying out before the Castile soap. Did that probably agitate it a bit more because soap generally is quite drying? Possibly, but it's doing really well and it doesn't have any pests, so I ain't complaining. Another update as well, really quickly, the Anthurium lancea, you can kind of see here, you've always seen it in the background, I don't know whether or not people have clocked it. There is a new leaf that is coming through right there, which is doing really, really well. And I have also chopped and propped my philodendron. Oh, why am I blocking on this now? Philodendron, I'll add it at the top. See, fluey brain, oh my God. It's one of my favorite plants as well. I don't know why I'm forgetting this. But yes, it's doing really, really well, and I chopped and propped it, and that one I did from a, you might be able to see the leaf here. I did that from an air layering situation, basically. The next big thing that I wanted to share is a new plant. Kind of new because I've owned this plant before. And let me see if I can take it out of its decorative pot and see. The roots are still looking okay. This is going to look really busted, but I'll talk you through it. So you can see there some of the leaves have got issues. Some of the newest leaves are okay. There we go. That one does actually have some rot. But I expected that, if I'm being honest, because what happened was with this plant is, so for one, this is a Philodendron Painted Lady, and I found a Painted Lady in a supermarket looking very, very unwell. So some of the leaves were yellowing, they had a lot of darkness on them. So what I think had happened with that plant, also it was in bone dry, really, really horrendous soil. So I brought it home, I checked the roots, they were all fine. I moved it into the Anthurium soil mix, obviously. And with that, I also saw, and you might be able to see some of that dark shadowing there. This plant, I think, A, had been left to dry out for far too long, and B, I think it was kept outside in the freezing cold, so this had some cold damage. I've lost quite a few of its leaves, but there's multiple growth points in this. I've lost quite a few of its leaves to kind of cold damage, I think. Looking at the roots are still looking relatively okay. And this is why I keep saying, try if you can to get clear pots, because you can keep an eye on what's happening. Is there maybe some rot that's happening potentially on some of the thinner roots? Yes, but I'm also letting this dry out fully before I water it. This is going to be a kind of revitalizing project because I wanted to, I mean, the fact I got very excited because I found a painted lady in my local supermarket. And by local, I mean five minutes up the road. So for the people that are in the UK, my local co-op. But yeah, I've never bought plants for myself from there before. I've bought some from friends and they've been okay. This one was a struggle bus. So this is a bit of a shout out to Sarah, the plant rescuer, who's always rescuing plants who were reduced. This one wasn't reduced yet. To give you an idea, I bought this home and I lost about half of its leaves almost immediately. They snapped off the petioles. The petioles are still doing okay. Some of the petioles are still doing okay. And I want to see if I can kind of nurse this back to health. I'm not particularly fussed if I can't, but I want to see if I can, because to be fair, I have gifted my big painted lady to a friend, and I'm just like, oh, there's a painted lady hole in my heart that I need to fill somewhere, somehow. So, but I don't want a big plant again. Something this small I can kind of handle. And also I'm growing this, unlike my previous one that was in here, I'm growing this in household conditions. So that remains to be seen. Probably not the best time to rehabbing a plant. Anybody who has rehabbed a plant in spring and summer, give us a shout down below, because I generally find if you do it during the growing season, it will always be faster, easier, higher rate of success than trying to do it in the winter where the light levels aren't there, the cold is quite high. So yeah, this is one that's a project, and hopefully it will bounce back. How about a little update on the Monstera, Aurea, variegated adansonii? Oh, brain, fluey brain. Monstera, adansonii, Aurea, variegated plant that I chopped and propped. So obviously you can still see there's some browning that is happening there on the white sections or the yellow sections. And you still get some of the browning, but actually having put this on a moss pole seems to have made a difference, because theoretically, oh, I think it is coming up. This is more or less a half moon leaf, basically. And you can see some of the browning is still happening there. That's one of the old leaves. This is one of the old leaves, and this is one of the old leaves. All three of these are new. It's doing a lot better, and actually the moss pole is helping, which is what I was hoping was going to happen. I think it's probably still going to do the thing where it's just like, the moss pole is there. Why are you kind of like getting aerial roots that are coming away from the moss pole? Do what you're meant to do. Don't be dumb. Anybody else like have words with their plants and just go, can you just do what you're supposed to do? But yes, it's doing okay. It's doing okay. I mean, is it still a Monstera adansonii that I particularly enjoy growing? No. I don't think that's going to change. I was trying to see if I give it better conditions, will it grow better, more consistent, it won't go as brown and look a bit busted. And I mean, to be fair, considering what this plant was like before I did all this is better. But I still don't know. I still don't know. I mean, there's an awful lot of variegation. If I show you the stem, you can kind of see that candy caning white. There's quite a bit of yellowy white there. So we'll see. But update on the adansonii Aurea. Also, I need to show the Aglaonema pictum Tricolor. I don't know if I've done this, I've maybe mentioned this on another video, but I don't think I showed you that I got this a while back. And again, got this from that plant nursery, garden centre that I've mentioned about before around here. And I think I've seen these come up on the market a lot more these days. I mean, it's still a titty baby, but it has got also 2 extra growth points at the bottom. And I know this might grow a bit busted, and I'm only just kind of getting my head around Aglaonemas, and I know that sometimes it will lose some of its lower leaves, but to be fair, I don't know whether or not that's going to come up. Can you see right there? There's 1, 2 growth points that are coming off the stem. This is a very odd plant because I've never had anything like this before. I was not willing to pay the dumb prices for me, the dumb prices that this was asking for before. I'm not the hugest fan of the army at the best of times. I do appreciate that there is a value to having the army, but the camouflage for me is not something that I get really excited about. It's cool, but I wasn't going to pay that kind of money. But this has come down to under 2 digits, I think, for something like this. And I'm just like, you know what? Let's give it a try and see what happens. So, yes, watch this space and we'll see how the Aglaonema pictum tricolor does for me in this space. Because I don't know, have you ever grown this? Because I know a lot of people have struggled with this. I don't know whether or not it's because eventually it drops all of its lower leaves and you get like a palm situation rather than a bushy plant, whether or not because it's an Aglaonema and because it's got some coloration, maybe it rots a bit quickly or there's other issues. Let me know if you've grown this before and you've had issues with it, maybe what I should be looking out for. Ooh, and I do have a pendens, or the pendens Anthurium that's doing really well. Let me show you. Ta-da! This is looking a lot bushier than it was a few months ago. So this is the newest leaf on this pendant Anthurium. I mean, at the moment, it's giving... The aerial roots are different. That's the only thing I will say. It's definitely giving Vitarifolium. It's not very dissimilar to the Vitarifolium. I mean, even the main leaves, the older leaves, are very similar to the Vitarifolium. The growth habit is similar. I don't know because I'm trying to remember when I had a Vitarifolium that was younger. Maybe you can tell me, because I know a lot of people got younger Vitarifoliums recently. The aerial roots on the Vitarifolium are very thick, but I do have a big plant here. And they've also got this silvery sheen to them, really like kind of almost bark-like. This doesn't have it quite like that, and these are a lot thinner, but I don't know, maybe because this is a lot smaller than my big mama jamma of the Vitarifolium here. I don't know, but yeah, let me know down below if you have been one of those people that has got a juvenile Vitarifolium, what your aerial roots are looking like at the moment. And also let me know if you're enjoying it, because I know a lot of people were always looking to get it, and I know a lot of you who watched my channel recently, or generally, have managed to get your hands on it, which I'm so happy for you, and hopefully you're enjoying growing your Vitarifoliums. But yes, this is a pendens. This is not a Vitarifolium, at least as far as I'm aware. I bought it as an Anthurium pendens, and this is the Vitarifolium. Which is also, by the way, I don't know whether or not it's going to come up, maybe. There is a new leaf that is happening right here. I need to stop stroking the leaf. Right, and I'll wrap up with another Anthurium. Oh God, I need to remember which one this is. Anthurium magnificum crossed with the luxurians. So this one was struggling. I overwatered it because I thought the magnificum could take it and the luxurians wasn't going to be too much of a pain. But no, it's still got luxurians genetics in it. The radicans ex luxurians, or vice versa, whichever one I've got, that one's a bit more forgiving, but this one really wasn't happy. So it's got a decent couple of leaves. This one's on its way out, but look at that. I got a new leaf happening, and it's happening kind of now in the more winter time. And some people might be looking at it going, why have you got it on a moss pole? It doesn't necessarily need a moss pole. And yes, and I'll show you some of the roots that are happening there. But can we see the roots that are happening within the moss pole? Because the problem that was happening with this is some of the roots down below were kind of rotting because it was staying wet for too long. But obviously the moss pole will dry out a lot more. But yeah, it's insane. Like the roots on this, similar to like a Philodendron and a Monstera, it's taken a while to get here, but this is now growing a lot happier. So I'm curious from all the people that are growing Anthuriums or any form of Anthurium on a moss pole. You probably don't need a huge moss pole, but how are you finding growing your Anthuriums like something like this on a moss pole? I might need to kind of explore that a bit more because actually it is doing relatively well. And again, I'm still trying to experiment with some new grow lights. I'm thinking some of the places that were really dark that I had Anthuriums, I'm just like, they're not going to like it, but actually they hated having the grow light more than not having the light, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's lessons learned for next winter. Possibly in this space I don't need to have grow lights in the winter everywhere, because it does get quite a bit of light, and it's probably getting better light in the winter than it is in the summer, where it's kind of blisteringly hot for most of the day. Because at least now, yes, I've still got some of the paint on the top glass of my conservatory, but it's also cloudy, so I'm just like, maybe it's not getting that much light, but apparently it's doing okay. So yes, Anthuriums on moss poles. But tell me, what did you think? Did some of these things surprise you? Are you surprised that I've kind of had a painted lady re-enter my life and my collection? I don't know. I don't know if that's surprising to anybody. And again, apologies for sounding as bunged up as I am, but Nemo's really not well at this particular moment in time. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed. Let me know which ones you liked down below, or which ones, if you've got any questions about some of the plants that I've kind of showcased here, because I know some people are very, very conscientious and very polite when they're asking questions, but feel free to ask the questions, and if I can answer them, I will. If not, I'll kind of go like, I don't know either, so back to the Google. But yes, and also for people that have joined recently, it's quite tricky. I think I've got over probably close to 400 videos on YouTube at this point in time. I can't monitor all the comment sections on every single one of those videos all the time, because I would do nothing else in my life. So generally what I try to do is, at least for the first 24 to 48 hours, I try to be around on the comments and respond back to all of you. So if you get in and watch the video early enough and make a comment, I'm more likely to come back to you, if that makes sense. If there's anything that's really pressing, you know where to find me. I always put it at the beginning of the video. Check me out on Instagram and send me a DM there. Do be patient, because sometimes, and I've seen this, I don't know why it's happening, but I don't think it's called spam, but sometimes Instagram does this thing where it's just like comments left in for review, and I don't always look at that bit of my messaging, so I might miss a message if you've sent it and I'm not coming back to you. It might just be because it's in there and I haven't seen it, so apologies. I do try to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. But yes, hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully I shall see you here soon, and I truly, truly hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.